My name is Mitch Benner, and we started this podcast to remove the stigma around sobriety from addiction.
My name is Aaron Nelson. Through our stories and the stories of our guests, we hope to help you find a new path. Well, all right, friends, we are back from Shattered Darkness. We have Jake Stewart here with us today, founder of Locker Room.
Co-founder.
Yes. Amazing. Well, we'll get to you in just a sec, man, but we were super excited to really get our what was formerly known as Clean and Sober Connections. Now we're calling Beyond the Buzz at a bi-monthly, every other week, bi-weekly meetups at Love Shack in downtown Loveland. And for those who don't know, it's our brand new non-alcoholic mocktail bar that we have in Loveland. So one, we want to support that movement. So go see Han down there and give that man some business. But we're going to be meeting there every other Thursday, 4 p.m.
5:30
till 5:30 to, again, meet up, social networking, just marketing, networking together without the pressures of alcohol. So even if you are not, what you consider sober or alcohol free or whatever, but if you just want to be there and not have to worry about driving home or figuring that out, come on out, network with us. We want to meet you, and we're going to have a nice topic that we're going to talk about each week. So there will be some structure, but it'll be pretty chill and grow your business, promote your brand, meet new people.
Yep. Stay sober and build real deep connections. That's the thing. Without alcohol, I feel like we can go a little bit deeper, in those relationships and the service that we can offer to our community and our friends. So excited to see you guys out there.
Yeah. Clear mind, healthy body. Yep. So Jake, man, stoked you're here, brother.
Excited to be.
And sorry, you kind of went a little fast, but Jake is the co-founder of Locker Room to Boardroom.
Correct.
So Jake will get the opportunity to kind of tell us what that's about. So, dude, thank you so much for being here this morning. We really appreciate it.
Oh, excited to be here. I mean, it's, been a listener now for a while and excited about what you guys are building. I think that, sharing stories and building community is something that we desperately need as humans. Absolutely. Something that more and more there's a big need for, with the phones and everything that we have going on. It's like we are more connected than ever, right, and more disconnected than ever. Totally. So building real relationships, community, sharing stories is a great thing. So I'm excited to be here.
That's awesome. Cheers. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about more about Locker Room to Boardroom.
Yeah. So Locker Room to Boardroom, started conceptually in the summer of 2023. And, it was in the time I was in the lending business, and I was talking to my brother-in-law, Mike Daniels. That's my other co-founder. We, like you guys are familiar with, we tried out every single networking group in the world, right? And, felt like we wanted to try something out ourselves and build a community, that we wanted to really pursue and kind of take on. And the community that we wanted to build was a community for former collegiate professional athletes. So to back up, my story is, I'm born and raised here in Fort Collins, Colorado. Went to Rocky Mountain High School. I ended up getting a scholarship to go play baseball out at Stanford. Spent 3 years out at Stanford playing baseball. Got drafted by the Detroit Tigers 2012. And so spent a few years in minor league baseball and, got to travel around and have my fun. And then it was time for me to come back home, and Mike, my brother-in-law, is from the Northern Virginia area, Fairfax, Virginia. And he ended up getting a scholarship to go play football at Virginia Tech in the early 2000s. So he spent, 4 years out there, 5 years, I guess he redshirted a year. Yeah. And then after that, got some time at some camps with NFL camps. So went through that as well. Right. And, so Mike was in B2B sales. So he was also going to all these networking groups. And so that was, we had this great idea of let's just get some former athletes together. Really what it was, I hadn't seen a lot of my buddies in a long time, and just wanted to kind of catch up and see what everybody was doing business wise. And let's just get together and see how we can help each other and, just get back together again and, hang out and have some fun. And so we started having these monthly networking group meetings like every networking group does, right? In September of 2023. Was our first ever one. And we had 8 guys come out. We played 9 holes of golf and then sat in CB and pots and just talked. Yeah. Right. And we continued to have these monthly events and our database grew exponentially. Like it was pretty crazy how fast our database grew. And we very quickly realized that there was a much bigger need for athletes, just in terms of that mentality, that shared struggle of the transition, the common mindset. We figured out that, a lot of athletes in sales roles, when they were calling through their lists, they were looking for other athletes. I mean, it was just, a lot easier to, tear down that wall and,
Yeah.
and build an authentic connection based on athletics. And then at the same time, we really saw that these stories of people's transitions away from sports were extremely powerful, right? It's interesting to hear all these stories, and we wanted to give these individuals a platform to share their stories, build real relationships, kind of go in a little sense of it. We are anti-AI, we're not, we want to continue with face-to-face connections,
Right.
deep, meaningful relationships, build this true community, right? And so we kind of spent the better amount of 24 kind of figuring out what we wanted this to be, as an organization. We launched our website in June of this year, so we're new on that
Yeah,
front,
I
right?
love it, man.
We are very new. Launched as a business this year. Launched our website in June of this year. But essentially, what we wanted to create was, take that digital, or take that monthly networking group side and really turn it into whatever you need, whenever you need it, 24/7, 365. That's what we're here to do, right? Is we want to be the first place that you call, the first place that you come to if you need anything in life, because there are hundreds, thousands of individuals who are willing to reach out their hand and say, "Hey, I'm here to help. What do you need?"
Dude.
That part is so cool for what we're doing, and that's what we've had people that have utilized us to find new jobs, to find business contacts, to find friends, golfing buddies, therapists, mentors, really whatever they need, right? Is what our platform is designed to do. And so it's been this crazy thing to build, and at the same time, one of the initiatives that we're taking right now is we are starting to partner with a lot of universities. We want those kids to be proactive versus reactive in planning for what their life is going to look like, because for the most part, people are very reactive to life after sports. And for the most part, people get told they're done with sports and it's not up to them, right? I mean, how often do you see farewell tours in,
Right.
the NFL or Major League Baseball?
That's what I was going to ask too, is like, I mean, that's got to be a very, I guess, without the lack of better term, just a difficult transition,
It's crazy. I mean, we, just, and now getting into it more and hearing more stories about it, right? But it's one of those things that, me, I played minor league baseball. I didn't make it to Major League Baseball, right? But playing in minor league baseball, I was fortunate to play in some good leagues. But, you go every day of your life, you're playing baseball with a team. Everything you do is structured, right? You're told every day what you're doing. And you're also doing every single thing with a group of people.
Right.
If you're working out, you're working out with the team. If you're throwing, you're playing with the team. Like, everything you're doing is with the team. Everything is structured. And at the same time, my last year playing, I was in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Awesome place. But that place, we were fortunate there, that we got, I mean, I would say 6 to 10,000 people out every single night to games. So
Really?
you're playing in front of these massive crowds.
That's awesome.
You're signing autographs, like
Yeah.
taking, media days. You're doing all these things, getting interviewed.
Inflating the ego.
Yes, right. And so, you feel like you're on top of the world. Like, I'm getting to play baseball. I'm getting paid to play baseball, signing autographs, all this, and then it stops. And for me, the hardest part was when I got back home. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I didn't know, what job I was.
How old were you when you came out of that?
24.
Okay.
24. Yeah, about to be 25.
Okay.
And so, but it was like, I didn't know what I was wanting to do with my life. I had a Stanford degree. That's great.
Yeah.
Right. But, at the same time, it's like, baseball's been my whole life. I thought my whole life I was going to go play in the MLB. I did everything I could for 25 years to go play in the MLB. Right. I mean, even now still, I have a mustache like a baseball player, hair like a baseball
Definitely
player.
look like a baseball.
I mean, I get that a lot.
Yeah.
But, and so it was coming back. It was like, even with the Stanford degree, I thought my whole life had to be baseball, and so it was natural for me to come back, and I spent 8 years coaching high school baseball because I wanted those kids, I'd walk the path that they were trying to walk.
Right.
And so, hey, let me not just help you on the baseball field and skill sets, but let me help you navigate what this might be like mentally through recruiting or professional baseball or all that stuff. And so that was fun. I would coach high school baseball for the rest of my life. Does not pay the bills, right? And so, I had to get a real job. I was starting to date this girl who's now my wife, but starting to date this girl and needed to kind of grow up in that regard. And The first job that I ever got was with a recruiting firm. My sister had worked for him. It was about talking to people and building relationships. I was like, great, that's, all I've done.
I
went
love
to
that.
Stanford,
Yeah,
didn't know
exactly.
anybody, every summer ball, I didn't know anybody, went to pro ball, didn't know anybody. Like, I love connecting and talking to people and meeting new people. But with that job, I worked remotely. And so I went from the glory of 10,000 people every day signing autographs, being very forward facing, to sitting alone in my basement, and at the same time, and like most careers are, maybe I should retract that statement a little bit, but it was in the recruiting world, the team that I was on, they're trying to get the same clients I'm trying to, candidates that I'm trying to get. So now the collaboration is not
there.
It's not there. Right. And so now I have a boss and a coach, which is similar, right? A manager in that regard, but now your team is out to get you, and that part of it. Even going from college baseball to professional baseball, there is a lot of that kind of same element in it, right? Those guys you're playing with, they could get promoted over you. So there is a little bit of that, right? But in sports, if the team's doing well, you're doing well, right? And baseball is one of those sports that it's very contagious. And so if people start to do well, you all of a sudden start to do a lot better. That's why you see major league teams that get in slumps and slides, because it's contagious. But, and so, yeah, but, so getting into that, it's isolating. It's tough. It's that mentality shift of going from that to this new phase of life it's lonely,
Well, and from so many people too. And I would tend to guess that because you surrounded yourself with so many people, you kind of relied on their advice and opinions in your life to kind of navigate your path. And that's like, I felt very much, I can identify to that because I felt very much like that when I was like 20, 21 years old. Just kind of walked into the world and like, oh, shit, like I don't have anybody tell me what to do. And it's very easy to go down the wrong path.
Yes. It's definitely easy. And like you said, you go your whole life with someone telling you exactly what to do, time to be there, everything. That's minor league baseball. You're playing 140 games in 150 days. So your life is structured. And all of a sudden, I felt for the first year or two, when I would wake up in the morning, I felt like I was doing something wrong, and then, at the same time, you kind of get told your whole life you're the man.
Totally.
Right. And then you get thrust into corporate America. You're not the man.
You're not the man anymore. Yeah.
Just because you did this doesn't mean that you're good at this job. Right. And now, and again, when I was a new hire entry level employee at 25 years old, well, that guy's 22. If that guy's 25, he's got 3 years of experience. I'm kind of behind the curve right now with, some of my peers. And so, it's one of the reasons why you see a lot of athletes struggle with that transition. And some of the, I don't know all the statistics, but, they say that it's almost 20% of NFL and NBA players, when they retire, declare bankruptcy within 2 years. You see these athletes go down these dark holes, and addiction is a strong part of that, right? It's, again, especially from baseball, baseball's not like football. But football, it's fun hearing Mike's stories, because Mike, with Virginia Tech, Inner Sandman, he was there playing the 2001 Miami Hurricanes. That's he was crazy, there with Mike Vick, the year after they went to the national championship. So playing in front of, 1 versus 3 matchup on national TV in front of 100,000 people, 50,
60,000
yeah,
people.
like he said that you walking out of the tunnel, he said it was an out of body experience that you feel like
I can't,
like a rock star, right? And so now you go from that to, for me, sitting in my basement by myself, that feeling of adrenaline, excitement, getting myself going is impossible to chase, right? And so that's, again, why you see a lot of these athletes that, they go and they come into this lifestyle of fame and wealth, and everybody's telling them how awesome they are, to crickets. Right. And it's why so many of those people declare bankruptcy. It's got to be half, maybe more, that struggle with depression, anxiety, all of those things that they go to. And so it's one of those things that a lot of people go down these difficult roads because they're trying to chase that feeling or numb the pain, or whatever it is, right? And so it's one of the reasons, again, why we wanted to start this, and we kind of saw that with everybody that we were talking to, is like, hey, we need community. You need to stick your hand out. We need that team aspect again, right? Of, hey, and at the same time, let's share their story. Let's share stories, because like you guys are doing, if you look at some of these guys that played 10 years in the NFL, and if they're going through it, it's okay for me to go through it. Right. I mean, just that sense of belonging.
Totally, man. And not feeling like you're on an island with your emotions and, the things that are going on. And dude, that's crazy, dude. Like I'm just trying to, that is something that's so far outside of my world, that like I'm trying to imagine, but I can get a mental grasp on like, dude, that is just like the biggest drop.
And then, too, you go on social media and everybody's posting how great life is. And, you see everybody's highlight reel and you start feeling bad about yourself or whatever it is. And so it's that shift in mentality it's difficult.
Yeah.
It's an identity thing. All of a sudden you lose your identity as whatever you are.
Yes.
Yeah. I was going to ask, like, what do you guys see, like, and I don't want you to necessarily put anybody on blast or anything like that. Like, we don't want to share somebody else's story, but what is a common, like, theme or trend that you guys see in these groups, like, stories wise? Like, are you guys starting to see a trend at all? Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, do this on here.
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that for us, everybody's story is a little bit different. I think that the biggest trend that we see is loneliness. That part of, it's very easy to isolate yourself and go down this rabbit hole of darkness, right? And another thing with that in athletes is, as an athlete, you're told your entire life that tough it out. You got a game to win. Doesn't matter if you're hurt. I don't care how you feel. You got a game to win, right? Especially in crunch time, like you can't. Mental health is not really a thing, with athletes, because you got to go out and compete. You got to go out and win, right? And if you're hurt, doesn't bury it. Go out there and play, and then you get into this world of isolation. And if you are going down this lonely path of going from the glory to that, and then you can't share it, right? You can't talk to anybody.
And they probably in the clubhouses and things, they don't want that kind of stuff in there. It's all positive environments, and team winning, and
it's funny, especially, I mean, baseball. I can speak to baseball again. I'm a baseball guy, but I like I mentioned, baseball is contagious, and so baseball is your mind doesn't understand can and cannot. Your mind only understands and inputs the information that you put in, right? And so if you walk into the plate thinking, oh man, I'm gonna strike out, guess what's gonna happen?
Yeah, exactly.
You're gonna strike out, right? And so if you hear a teammate that's kind of dragging everybody down, it's contagious. Baseball is so contagious in that regard, right?
Dude, and I can totally see how that would translate into the real world of, like, once you isolate yourself, then it's like, okay, I've got to figure this out on my own.
Yes.
Which that's probably the most dangerous place that I think a human being can be, as far as mental health and things like that go. And so tell us a little bit about the group, dude. Like, what kind of positive impacts are you guys seeing in these people's lives? Because honestly, this is incredible. I love this. And it's an area of life that I don't think I've honestly never really thought about. You know what I mean? And now I can see, like, oh my gosh, yeah, that could be a major problem.
Yes.
So what's kind of the positive like things that you guys are seeing in these people and inside of your group?
I mean, the coolest thing that we see, I mean, every day within our group is the conversations that are had and how unbelievably empowered people feel. Awesome. And that part, again, just knowing you're not alone is so cool, but how invested everybody has become in everybody else, again, not just in business, but just how confident people walk away feeling about their future. I mean, that's what, again, we're not a coaching firm. We're not a recruiting firm. We're not those things. We are in the business of helping you build a better long-term sustainable future. And so how powerful and impactful these conversations are in these relationships that we're seeing be built. I mean, that's the most gratifying thing for us, right?
Totally,
I mean,
man,
again, incredible. We've helped people find new jobs, and we've helped people make money and, get deals and all that stuff. But again, I think that when now I see the people in our group that are like hanging out and spending time together, and now, as we're in this phase where everybody has kids, like now people are getting their kids together, and people want these other individuals to be influences in their kids' lives, and that part of it, I think, is my favorite part, just how how powerful these conversations are. And then, you know, again, too, like just seeing people's passions come to life, right? I mean, there's a lot of it that what we do that's almost where it's not peer advisory, you know, but like, hey, if you're struggling with something or have questions about business, you know, financial advisors that are like, hey, should I reach out to clients or wait for them to reach out to me? Or, hey, I just got into hiring and firing. How's anybody dealt with that?
Yeah.
Or, you know, like just this sounding board almost of these people, and seeing people's passions come to life is a cool thing. You know, we've helped people kind of leave their careers and open up their own businesses because now they've been wanting to and been on the fence about it, but you know, now they're seeing this excitement and belief in themselves, that they can go out and do it. And so that part is cool.
That's incredible, man. Like, and that's honestly, that's absolutely incredible. And we've said it too on this podcast. Like, I feel like once you really find a purpose in your life, you know, and you attack it and it's in your heart, you know, everything changes.
Yes.
You know, and that's what we've been trying to do as much as we can with this, you know, and sobriety and things like that, is like, dude, once you lay that down, like you actually become your true self.
Yes.
You know, and then those things start to come out. And honestly, a lot of people that we've seen end up turning their trauma into a positive thing, you know, and they end up getting, like, if it's a sexual abuse person, it's like they start to advocate for those kinds of things. Right. And so it's crazy, but you have to go through that like mental restructuring.
Yes.
You know, and do you guys see a lot of that where it's like having to help people create new neural pathways, new belief systems?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's what we have a number of very good like therapists and coaches and those kind of people in our organization. And just kind of hearing what they do and how they go about it is extremely powerful. But I mean, I think that, again, what brings us together and what brings people to us is that shared struggle. It's really the first 2 to 3 years outside of sports is kind of finding that. But again, like you said, I mean, now for the first time in my life outside of baseball, I'm excited to wake up. I'm excited to go out and, you know, I don't care if I got to call these people. I don't care what I have to do. Like, it's exciting. It's fun. You know, it's every conversation that we have is so reinvigorating. It's so solidifying.
That's the way that it should be.
Yes.
You know, and that's why, like, if I could take one thing on the earth away, it would be social media, you know, and it's just, it's such a mental clusterfuck.
Yes.
You know, and it's just like, oh, I got to be this, I got to be that. And, you know, I'm a very spiritual person, and I think that social media is directly from Satan, you know, and it is a perfect platform to confuse us, to steal our identity, you know, and things like that. And so
it's so easy to get sucked into it. And then it's you don't see the truth. And I mean, it really has led to the depersonalization of society, right? I mean, especially you look at, not to call out the younger gen. Now I sound old, you know. But you know, look at some of these younger generations and the ability to look somebody in the eye, shake a hand, you know, have a full face-to-face conversation, or even, you know, you go to restaurants and go to dinner and you look at some tables and everybody's just sitting on their phone, right? You know, that was one of the things that we talked about a lot at Stanford was, you know, these technological advances and their impact on society, right? And how, you know, these different levels of social interaction, right? You know, the main interaction like this, where everybody's sitting in a room having a conversation. You know, there's that level where if you're watching a football game and, you know, at least everybody's sitting there watching one common thing, still some communication's going on, but it's limited. And then that type where everybody is sitting by themselves, you know, like this, everybody's just sitting on their phone. Maybe somebody snickers because somebody sent a funny meme to each other, but that's not bringing this connection, you know, it's not bringing these relationships. And you know, it's one of the things, and especially in a lot of our conversations with these universities, is teaching these people real life skills. And it's not necessarily building your resume or whatever it is. It's social interaction, right? It's how you should present yourself, how your communication skills are, how to shake a hand, you know, stand up in a room when somebody walks in and shake their hand and look them in the eye, you know? And so it's, you know, social media it's done a lot, especially with the new algorithms and the way that if you want a confirmation bias, if you want to find something out, you're going to find it out, right? That's not help. It's not challenging your viewpoint. It's not helping you solidify your beliefs.
The shit that's on there is not even true.
No.
You know, it's just people trying to get likes and this and that. And, you know, it's funny you say that too, because my daughter, what were we doing the other day? It was something. And, my wife had a bad day. And I was like, hey, when you get home, I want you to go up to your mom and give her a hug, look her in the eye, and tell her how much you love her and how much you appreciate everything that she does for you.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, and she's like, well, can I just make a card? And I was like, no, you need to tell her to her face, and she's like, well, I'm a little nervous. And I was like, really? She's 7. And I was like, honey, this is your mom. Like, I was like, I don't want you to write a card. I want you to say it to her. It means a lot more when it's spoken.
Yes.
Right. And it changes the environment between you and your mom. Right. Yeah. If you get a note, she'll hold that in her heart for sure. Mm-hmm. But what you're doing is you're strengthening your relationship with her. Right. And you're saying, hey, I see you. I love you.
Yes. Well, I know it's better than a text.
And so it's just like, I'm seeing that in my 7-year-old daughter. Right. Like, so it's kind of cool to see those things and have the opportunity and the mindset to be like, hey, no, that's not the way you're actually supposed to do this.
Yes.
And challenge them in that area. But yeah, dude, I think it's just totally stripped us of humanity, honestly.
Yes. And again, I mean, I think that's what we are outdated, I think, in what we're building, right? Again, we are kind of the anti-AI, the anti-way of the future. I mean, really what we are is consumer social.
Right.
Consumer social it's over, Facebook is old. It's the way of the past, right? What we're building is in that sphere. But I mean, a lot like you guys is these communities to break these stigmas, to bring this to the forefront of mental health and dealing with it and letting people know you're not alone, letting people know that it's okay, letting people that know for us, I always like to say, it doesn't matter if you played 2 years of junior college ball or 10 years in the MLB, right? Like you need somebody to lean on and be able to share your stories and be vulnerable. And that's where the true strength is,
and you said that you guys, your database grew exponentially, and it's because of that, dude. Like, it's because of you're actually reaching people where they're at. Right. And that is a very Christ-like, I mean, in my opinion, that is literally what Jesus told us to do when he ascended to heaven, right? Like pick up my torch.
Yes.
Go find the people that don't know about me and tell them, right? And so that's kind of the ideology that we took into Shattered Darkness.
Yeah.
Right. It was like, hey, there's probably a shitload of people in our community that are sitting in the dark, really struggling with this. Right. So we need to go find them.
Yes.
How do we do that? Right. Let's start sharing stories. Let's build a community. Let's start reaching out. Let's be very loud about what we're doing, and do it with zero shame.
Yes.
And just run through these doors. And dude, I don't want to say it's become my identity because, I don't want to like identify with one certain thing, but like, dude, you talk about passion and waking up in the morning and
lighting a fire.
Dude, I probably get chills 4 to 5 times a day.
Yeah.
And so it's just it's insane. And even if you don't believe in God, right? Like there is something that connects us all, right? Like I'm getting goosebumps just through this conversation, right? That's a connection.
Yes.
And you can't get that through the phone.
No.
The only thing that I've ever felt through a phone is fucking piss, and like, I find that maybe funny, this, that, but it's like, if you're texting me something like a positive affirmation or whatnot, like, yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And I love the comments on Facebook and things like that. And we use Facebook. It's a tool. Right. But at the same time, you have to be careful.
Well, it's a tool to seek external validation.
Mike's calling you right now.
No, get him out of here. But it's a tool to seek external validation.
Absolutely.
And that's not leading you to empowerment and bettering yourself, right? Is if you do things to seek that validation from others, you're still going to feel that hole inside. Right. And so, we want people to, your story's great. Like, and we tell everybody this, is everybody's story that we talk to has the ability to impact a life. It doesn't matter if it's 1, it doesn't matter if it's 5,000. It has the opportunity to impact a life. Yes. And that is cool, right? That should make you feel good. And we're not doing that to go out and chase likes and chase comments and do these things. Like, no, we want this real life story is going to have an impact on a 19-year-old kid who's going through a difficult period in their life. And now they're going to feel, again, connection because they're not going to feel alone.
Let me ask you a question. When you were coming out of high school, going into college, your mindset was obviously baseball. So you had a direction.
Yes.
Right. And then once that direction is stripped away, what is, for you personally, did you struggle with depression through that environment? Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was loneliness. I was sad. I woke up in the morning feeling like I didn't know what I was doing. I kind of withdrew myself from my friends, I think was the biggest thing, right? I didn't want to,
Isolated yourself.
yeah, I didn't, but because I didn't want to share with my friends what I was, like, again, sports, you're told not to do anything. And so for me, it was, a lot of it was like, I just don't want to share anything with anybody. And my wife, she still talks about this, but it's difficult for me to be very communicative, and it's just, that's what I've been was taught my whole life, was bottle it up, figure it out,
Dude, and that's so cool, right? Like that's the one probably untruth that you learned in your life that you're fighting against, right? And it's probably the most powerful one in your life.
Yes. Well, it's been the most powerful thing in our organization is being extremely transparent. And we've kind of learned this a lot, especially as how we grew so quick. And it was because we're super open and honest and transparent about not only our stories, but with our business and what we're building is we want every member, everybody that touches us, to refer to the organization as we and us, and not you and you guys. Right. And so we constantly ask our members questions like, hey, we're thinking about this. What do you guys think? Or, dude, hey, what should we do? Yes. I bet 50-60% of the ideas and things that we have implemented are not from us. Right. And it's been this great thing that's like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, but I have no idea how to do it. Can somebody help me? Yeah. And just opening up in that, I mean, kind of like you touched on, it's that thing that was so hard for me in our organization has now become our biggest power. And now it's at the same time become very contagious because our members are so much more open. And again, when we talk about those powerful conversations, everybody comes in and is like, I'm struggling with this, or, hey, I was, when my business is at this point, I don't know what to do. And it's like people jump on it. Yeah. And it's, dude, we were just so exciting.
Yes. I was just having this conversation with my wife last night, and asking for help and setting that down and just being like, dude, I don't really know what I'm doing here. That is a form of humility, right? That is not a form of like failure by any means. We're in my beliefs, like we're created for a specific purpose, right? Some are leaders, some aren't, some are very smart, some aren't, like some are great athletes, and we all have our own unique individual gifts. And I think once you start to put that community together, now you can pull from all of those gifts, right? Yes. And people want to give. And so it's like when you don't accept a gift, that could be harming somebody like else over here. And I told my wife that I was like, you need to ask for help. You have an amazing group of women around you that would probably bend over backwards for you, but your pride is getting in the way and you won't ask for help. You feel like a burden maybe, but I was like, you have to put yourself in their shoes.
Yes. I think that's the biggest thing though, because you don't want to be a problem for your buddies, problem for other people.
I think there's a line.
Biggest part that probably you're running into is, I don't want to drag them down. So on that note, how do you get that out of people? I guess for any specific examples of dudes just sitting back, maybe partly they have to be ready, I'm kind of tying it back to sobriety too, though. Yeah.
Well, this is very congruent. Like,
I don't want to bug my parents or let them know how bad I'm doing things. I don't want them to worry about me or whatever.
Yes.
But same thing.
I mean, I think that for us, the biggest message that we're trying to get out there is there's a lot more people that are willing to help than you think. Yeah. And a lot more people care than what you think. I've seen it now as we built this out, like reaching out to my buddies and asking for a favor or help. Yeah. Like it has dramatically impacted our relationships in the best way possible. Yeah. And what we try to do is, we're basing this thing on servant leadership. Everybody that touches us, we are going to pour our hearts and souls into you. And I think that just that element of it has grown so quickly that, if we are expressing those vulnerabilities and we're asking for help, and then in the meantime, kind of getting that message across that, again, people care, people want to help, people would be so excited if they heard from you asking to help. And so as we're trying to do that, we want our people to see that since we're trying to do it, it's okay for them to kind of echo that back to us. And we've seen, tremendous growth in that, because the one thing I think that we found probably the biggest shared bond in our organization is everybody feels this huge need to give back to the next generation. If you look at professional athletics as a whole, basically everybody you see that plays a sport at a high level at some point in their life is going to get into coaching or training because they want the next generation to have that transparency and openness to what their experience was like, right? And so through that kind of that message, if we can kind of get everybody to tap into that hey, they want to help kids, or they want to help high school kids, or they want to help the people that are going to walk their journey, and give that, I always like to say, transparent feedback. We don't give advice, right? It's transparent feedback on, hey, this is how I did it.
Yeah.
This is the good, this is the bad, this is the ugly, the indifferent, everything about it. But once we kind of tap into that with people, it's really easy to transition that into, you still need it. Everybody needs a coach. You still need a coach. There's a coach that you loved. You still need a coach. It doesn't matter if you're a VP or a president of a Fortune 500 company, like they still have coaches. So leaning into kind of that sports side of it, of the coach and the team, the willingness to kind of give back to the next generation, it does tear down a lot of those walls.
I was going to the point too of like, you use the term servant leadership, which I absolutely love, because that is what leadership should be. Is you should lay down first, serve. And then when you get to that leadership position, you continue to serve.
Yes.
And it's hard, right? Because there's so many things in our life that we want, that we need, that we think we need, that we want, vacations, this, I got to do, but we're doing it for other people, right? And not in our own lives. So it's like this big circle of life, where we're all connected, and I'm up here, but maybe Joe's down here, and, okay, let's go pick Joe up. And then and it's just this cyclical thing, right? But it's so powerful.
It's cool. And I think that, leaning into kind of what you said there, I think that maybe, again,
and your guys'
whatever, this is
vulnerability,
my company, but I think that for us, we've built this in a way that it is based on people helping people, right? And that's what, we talk about this, that if we bring somebody into the organization and they're open and vulnerable, and now they get connected with somebody who helps them in business and in their life, then that, that part of the circle gets connected, but then that only lifts us up, and so it's like our sales is so fun because, the more we help people, the more we see this growth and this benefit, and, just inspire loyalty and like it. But it's cool that if we bring somebody in and have that immediate impact to them, everybody wins. And it's so cool that this community helps each other in that way, that it's like, we are only helping each other. We are benefit from each other, and everybody gets to win and get lifted up and built up from this. And it's a cool little structure behind it, but it's awesome.
How big is your sphere now?
It's big, couple thousand people. We have members in 20 cities across the country now. We're running events all over the place. We're going to the Cowboy Stadium in January to run an event with a college bowl game down there.
That's incredible.
And starting to pull in a lot of universities. Our goal is to take over the nation. Again, we want, if you graduate from Colorado State and move to Dallas, Texas, you went and say, hey, we got people in Dallas. Here's your friends. Here's your sphere. Here's your business contacts. We will relentlessly pursue this, just, staying in our purpose, staying in our passion. But yeah, it's grown quickly. And now we're at East Coast, West Coast. We're getting all over the place.
Dude, that is unbelievable. And I love the word vulnerability. That's what really changed my life. And if you think about it, it's hard, right? Like, it puts you in a place of like, okay, I'm not sure how the world is going to respond to what I've done.
Yes.
Who I am, things like that. But dude, I'm telling you, the second you do it and you lay out who you really are, you can't actually have those true connections unless you're willing to do that. And that's why I would say, like, what you guys are doing is so attractive, right? Because you led by example, right? You're like, hey, this is my story. This is where I came from. I just want to help people. I know there's a lot of other people out there that are like me.
Yes.
And then you guys picked a niche, right? Which is great.
Yes. Well, it's a niche that there's nothing for.
Dude, and right? You are finding something that's not being served and then adding value. I mean, it doesn't surprise me that you guys are in 20 cities in 18 months? That's incredible.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
We found that the athlete world is very small.
Yeah.
It's a small world,
very
connected. Especially once you make it to the higher levels, it gets smaller and smaller. I learned this the other day that, this still blows my mind, but Major League Baseball, as an example, is
just thinking that
Major League Baseball has been around for 150 years. Basically every kid plays Little League Baseball or T-ball. For the most part, kids think they're going to the MLB. In 150 years, there's been 23,000 MLB players.
That's crazy.
That's not even half of a stadium, and so if you look at the opportunity to get to that level,
odds,
it's now this understanding, and there needs to be this mentality shift in youth sports. There's a big need. This is a whole different conversation of people utilizing sports as a tool. It's not your life. You are much more than that jersey you're wearing, right? And it's a tool that's going to teach you adversity, teamwork, great life skills. But even if you make it to the top, one of my buddies played 9 years in the MLB and retired, and he's 34. It's like you have way more life to live after the sport than you do in the sport.
Right.
You know what I mean? And now, you got to figure out what to do to fill that time and redefine your purpose and all these things. It's a tool that's going to teach you life skills. And it's very lost, in youth sports now, and especially social media, and let's post all these highlights. And I got offered by this X, Y, and Z. And it's like, it's an easy way to kind of suck yourself to identifying yourself with the jersey. Right. And you are a lot more than that. I mean, again, who was it? Scotty Scheffler just came out a couple weeks ago, and he that press conference, and he was talking about like, I don't want to be remembered for these, and these, like a husband, a father, like the person I am in society. Like those are the most powerful things about you, not your sport. Your sport can give you a platform to do good things.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say.
But it's not.
And that's a gift, right? But I love what you said, dude. It's a tool, right? Like, and that's kind of like same in sobriety, right? Like it's not who I am.
Yes.
Right. It's a part of who I am, but it's also become a tool to become a better human being.
Yes.
Right. And it's honestly like become a superpower.
Yeah.
And that's what I constantly am telling. And people are always agreeing. Like if you've gone through sobriety, like you've literally beat your demons, like that is so empowering.
Yes.
And it's just like the confidence that builds inside of you. And then having that community around you that's just like cheering you through it. This article that I did for NoCo Real Producers is one of the quotes they pulled out, which I love, is, we want to champion people through sobriety.
Yes.
Right. We want to be there to be like, dude, it's okay. Like I realized that laying all of these things down is super hard.
Yes.
Here's an example of what I did. Right. And just walking them through that and clapping them, right. Instead of stuffing them in a corner where it's like, oh, this was your choice, which may be true from the onset, but that is such a slippery slope. And then 95% of the world forgets about the opioid epidemic.
Yes.
There was thousands of people that became addicts through that. That was not their fault, And so it's just like, it's not this thing like, and now fentanyl is this huge problem in these major cities, and it's like, people are just kind of stuffing them down in Skid Row or brick mansions. And like, we're just not going to deal with this. And that is heartbreaking.
Yes.
And then to hear and see the people's comments, on there, it's like, I sometimes can't go on those websites because I'll just rip people a new asshole.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's the same thing that these guys are dealing with, though.
Totally.
Like, how could you be
it's identity
2 years after you just made millions of dollars?
It's identity crisis.
Well, yeah. And you look at sports boards everywhere are filled with hate. I mean, that's what you look at, especially, you look at like kickers in the NFL, and if they miss a kick and they're getting death threats and all these things on social media, and it's
such a joke. For that note, all these people that like, it sucks. I hate social media, but you kind of flip it on after the game. Like I do it for the entertainment. Like especially the last 2 weeks, Broncos lost a close game.
Yes,
and everybody's just like, dude, you might as well just pack it in.
Well, it's so
you're so upset about this little thing, and that's unfair pressure to the human being, the athlete, and that's where it's hard to. I can't even relate.
Well, that's the thing is we see these people on TV and we don't identify them as people.
Yes,
it's
a
an
human
object.
element,
right?
Yeah.
And so, I totally agree.
It definitely goes down that path. And honestly, it's one of the things that's worked out so nice for us because those shared bonds that you create in the locker room are so powerful.
Yeah, dude.
Because you go through hell together. Football's got to be the worst with two-a-days and like all the things that you're doing. You're going to war with your buddies like day in and day out, and you get broken down to nothing to get built back up, but you got to do it all together and pull each other, and it's these stories. I feel like there's so much synergy.
I don't know when, I'm assuming that you've had, you miss a play and it kind of loses you the game, or striking out, whatever.
Yeah, too many times to count.
I never made it to the MLB, right?
Struck out a lot.
That was a joke.
Yeah, I like to strike out.
But how is it?
I was good at striking out.
How is it in that locker room though? For a lot of us that don't know it, like who helps each other out? Is it you just not talk and you just kind of get through it, or like in a real team, who is there to help pick each other up?
The guys, the team. I mean, it is an unbelievably supportive environment. It's one of those things that you kind of sense out the leaders of the team, and there's people that, sports locker rooms are one of the most unique environments in the world, right? Because of the people. It is people from everywhere, every different background you could dream of. I played people pro baseball that had never seen running water in their lives. So it's this mix, this as diverse of a crowd as you can get,
Right.
that are all pushing for a common goal.
Right.
It's beautiful. It's one of the beautiful things about sports, is sports has this unique way of uniting people. Right. But so there's all different personalities. There's whatever it is, but for the most part, sports are, their locker rooms, they're unbelievably supportive environments, right? Yeah. And good coaches, like in business, right? But good coaches get a sense of what their players need. They should get a sense of what their players need. I needed to get my ass chewed. I was that kind of guy that I responded well to that. Some guys didn't. Some guys needed to put your arm around and say, hey, it's okay. Don't worry. We'll pick you up, whatever the case is. But, it's good locker rooms. The difference between winning teams and losing teams is the culture that's created within that locker room, and how family oriented that locker room is. That's, you can see it. I mean, that was 2007 when I was at Rocky Mountain High School. We won the state championship. It was our first state championship ever, and we were nobodies. Yeah. I mean, we had some talent. We had some young talent, but the family element that was built behind it, we were unstoppable.
Well, that's funny that you Rocky Mountain first state championship. I'm like, wait a minute, y'all already dominant.
We've won a few cents. But just kind of getting to that level and seeing that we could do it, and then those bonds that were created. I mean, I still talk to all my teammates from high school, and Scott Bullock at Rocky Mountain High School is a top 5 human being I've ever met in my life. Our head coach is just one of the best human beings in the world. And it wasn't about him as our baseball coach. It was about who he was for us as a person, and the belief that he had, and how he approached us as individuals, and he's the type of guy that I could break down on the side of the highway, 4,000 miles away at 2 a.m. and call him, and he would be like, on the way, click. Like that kind of person. Yeah. But again, so like that's the difference between good teams and bad teams. Right. Winning teams and losing teams is that's how supportive and community based that environment is.
I bring that back. I only ask that question because if you're struggling through something, it's not necessarily on you to go find that, mm-hmm. but that's why we're here, to be that coach and help people through it. I think if you're listening and it's hard to get through life, these organizations are here. When you have that Bill Buckner moment, you got to block out the asshole. Yeah.
Well, it's also in sports, it's also forced, right? That community is forced because you are in the locker room. You have the team, you know what I mean? And so it away from that, it's harder to find that community, you know what I mean? But it's still something that's needed. You have to search for it. I mean, that was the outgoing Surgeon General for the last administration's outgoing prescription for America, was we need more community. Yeah. And, again, in sports, you're lucky in the sense that your community is forced because of that locker room, right? My first day at Stanford, I didn't know anybody out there, but I walk into the clubhouse and it's like, hey, here's 30 friends. Like, it doesn't matter what we're doing, I'm hanging out with these people every day, so you kind of get forced, you get put into this situation where it is like gifted to you of a community, so it's a little unique in that sense, but you're fortunate. You're so fortunate.
But we're doing the same thing. I mean, back to Revital for first responders.
Revital, Colorado.
Episode 4, I think it was, or
Jordan Long
in our early episodes. Yeah. That's what we're doing here. Is we're bringing on guys like you that we can, for everybody that's listening, these communities are out there.
Well, and we
don't have to be on an island in isolation.
And that's the thing, is like, sometimes it's hard to find the people to serve, right? Mm-hmm. And we're out looking for it. I think we're in this phase with Shattered Darkness of creating the community piece, And then it's like, from there, I want to be able to set up like opportunities to go into rehab facilities and AA meetings and just say, hey, we're here. If you guys want to be a part of it, once you're done with this, whatever, we are here.
Yeah.
I know,
should
dude.
go.
It's been on my
those.
to-do list
Yeah.
for a long time.
No,
I just
I mean-
haven't had time to do
I've
it.
got 3 ideas before I leave.
No, it's awesome. And that, was one of the things when we were talking that day about the opportunity for me to come and be with you guys today is what you guys are doing is amazing.
Thank
right.
you.
I mean, it's
Likewise.
one of those things that, again, it's letting people know they're not alone, letting people know that there is a community of individuals who care.
Mhm.
Right. And that in the sense of what you guys are bringing to an individual and their internal sense of empowerment, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So I commend you guys so much about what you guys are doing and what you guys are building, because it's a big need. Again, it's one of those things that it's very easy to be on an island and, throw yourself into isolation. But
and
the
when
way you guys are doing this is phenomenal.
when you're in that addiction, dude, like with drugs and alcohol, like you're not yourself. You're not
Yeah.
thinking clearly.
When you're sitting in the basement,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Isolated.
you don't know what the fuck to do.
Yes.
So, and that's why our group that starts today or on the 25th is every other week.
Mhm.
Because it's like I want it to be available all the time.
Yes.
If you didn't make it this week, it's 2 weeks.
Yes.
Or you can call me.
It's
or
funny.
this,
Yeah,
or-
it's funny. So I like that idea. I threw this out to our members this week on Monday. I sent out a Monday update every Monday, and I was like, hey, what if I just did like every Wednesday, I just went and sat at a coffee shop, and if anybody wants
Bro,
to
that's
like
a great
collaborate, I was like, just keep these things like visible and community facing. And so I just threw that out this week.
And
I feel like we need to do this, and it's always there for you.
And I bet people will respond to that. And dude, what an awesome way to just let the world kind of bring you opportunities, and bring opportunities to the folks that try to show up, or that do show up. And that's what I'm so excited about this afternoon. I've been looking forward to this for like 2 weeks, ever since we started working on it, because I'm just stoked to go in and meet people that are exactly where I'm at, maybe hopefully farther along, that can teach me things, and bring people up. And I don't know, dude, it's a lot of fun, and it fills my heart and my soul.
Yes.
You
Well,
know?
and that's what, and you guys will see it. And I know you have been seeing it, but just how real those conversations are. I mean, it's cool. It's so cool.
And that's the thing, dude, when you air your dirty laundry, and you don't got to do all of it, not in a way that hurts people, but in a way that attracts people.
Yes.
And my dad always told me growing up, like, you can cut people's throat with a feather,
Mhm.
and it's like, you can get your point across without being an asshole.
Yes.
Right. And so,
Sorry, that reminded me of something. I went to this thing at Elevate, the Fairway event. Chris Doe is like the marketing god. He said, so everybody has their own personal brand and their own like tagline. What did he say? Oh, harsh truths spoken subtly or spoken softly or something. It was a really good way to
it's what our world needs, dude. Like 20% of people are going to hate me for the things that I say and the things that I do. That's just a reality, right? 80% will resonate with something. At the end of the day, you just have to block out the noise.
No matter what you say, people are not going to like it, right? That's what they always talk about.
We'll get tore apart for something. I'm like, well, at some point we'll probably get canceled, and we'll just rename the podcast and keep going. And so
the community piece. So when you're having conversations like this, you can understand someone's point better. Keyboard warrior, book you're stupid.
Yes.
Well, and how often do you actually read an entire text message? Like my brain is so like on to the next thing. I'll read half the text message. I'm like, oh, I got it.
Yeah.
And that is a serious problem. Like I'm trying to not do that, because they're like, well, I said it in the text. And I was like, and I always tell people I'm a caller. I would rather talk to you.
Yes.
It's more efficient. I can understand your voice and I can get cues from our conversation. So I was like,
craft the conversation, however, that's
exactly.
Texting. You can craft it. You can send.
Oh, dude, it's and it's so easy to say harsh things behind a screen.
Yes.
But really, and I think this is why people struggle so much with Charlie Kirk, is because he just was very boisterous about what he believed in.
Yeah.
And I respect that. And there's a lot of people that aren't going to like that. And that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. No, absolutely. But that's what, again, I'm so excited for you guys and today and what you're going to see. It's cool. That's, again, we've just been going through it, and, we have members from 18 years old through like 70. And it's cool. Just these perspectives and the common ground that everybody can find rather quickly it's awesome.
Yeah. So, dude, obviously you just shared a ton of wisdom. We always ask everybody on the podcast, like if you had to say one thing or they heard one thing through this episode, what would your piece of wisdom be?
I mean, I think my biggest thing is always you're not alone, no matter what you're going through. You're not alone, right? There's a lot more people that want to lend their hand to help, right? And so, reach out, I think is the biggest thing, and reach out to those that are closest to you. I mean, those people want to help, and it's okay. You're not alone, right? People are there to lend a helping hand, and leaning on others is a true show of strength.
Right. I agree. And I honestly feel like that's how we were created, to be in community.
We are definitely a community based. Yeah.
And so it's like when we don't have that, it's very easy to go down these roads. And, if you don't have that person or those people in your life, come hang out with us on Thursdays. Find those connections. If you don't have the family piece or the support piece or whatever, like, let us champion you through what you're going through. Yes. And we will do that, So, dude, how can we support Locker Room to Boardroom?
How do people find Locker Room to Boardroom?
Yeah, I mean, we're on all the social media channels, which is hilarious. I spent my whole life hating social media.
Yeah,
now we got to be on social media.
Dude, I'm in the same boat.
But yeah, we're on social media, and then our website is just www.lr2br, the number 2, br.com. And then, me and Mike are visible. And basically, if anybody wants to reach out, come on in. We have our only rule is you had to play college or professional sports. But if you meet that criteria, then we want you to be a part of what we're doing.
Awesome. What about failed walk-on?
Sorry, dude.
Man, I get those all the time. What I was good and I am. It's like, oh, nice.
Yeah. I remember when we used to play. Were you around during the days of LMAA? Yeah. Can't say it anymore because it's the Loveland Midgets Athletic Association. It was for kids. They had to rebrand it because.
Whoa.
That's offensive.
Like midgets hockey or like short?
No, it was like football. That's what I played football through.
Mm.
Oh. It was football. So it was like a company would go and sponsor a team and then buy their jerseys and, it was rough. I was actually pretty good during that. But yeah, when I got to high school, dude, weed and drugs and things like that got involved. And I was always a little guy. So, and then, dude, I was going to say too, if you have people that would want to come on the podcast, people that are struggled with addiction and would like to share their story.
Absolutely.
I mean, we would love to connect with them.
Oh, absolutely. Well, again, I'm so thankful for you guys allowing me on here. But what you guys are doing, one of the things that we as an organization are always searching for are organizations and people like yourselves, right? We want to have those resources because if people are struggling with that and coming to us, it's an easy no-brainer.
Well, and that's the thing, dude. I want to be able to have like 15 doors.
Yes.
Right? That I'm like, oh, you were this part of life. Like, go through this door, meet these people. They can give you everything that you need. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, that's what I always say. I'm a professional door opener. Yeah. That's what we do. Or I say a lot of times that we're building your Rolodex. It also makes me feel old sometimes.
Exactly. Contacts in your phone. Yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on here, sharing your story. And honestly, Jake, thank you so much for what you're pouring into the community. You are truly serving the people that have a need in your world. And that is what we need more of. So it's inspiring. I've literally had chills like this whole interview. So thank you for what you're doing. And Mike.
Yes.
And Mike, like that's just incredible, man.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and thank you guys for what you guys are doing. Again, I commend you guys on everything and love to be a part of this.
Yeah.
Excited.
Absolutely, dude. Well, with that, we're going to end our episode. Listeners, thank you guys so much for tuning in, for listening. We've been connecting with you guys throughout the community. And obviously our support is growing and we can't tell you how much we appreciate it. If you guys made it this far, please go on to YouTube and subscribe on YouTube. Shattered Darkness Podcast. I'm seeing our numbers go up, so thank you guys so much. But we would love to get higher and higher and higher and higher. It just impacts the reach that we can make and the people that we can serve. So, and if you guys want to come on and share your story, give me a call. Hit me up on social media. Text me. My phone number is easy to find. I'd love to hear your story. Aaron, you got anything before we sign off?
No, appreciate you being here, brother. You're the man.
Thanks again, Jake. Appreciate it, bro. We'll see you guys next time.